last night, the triumphant return of the product herself.
Because you is part of the problem. You're lying to the people, and you're supposed to be looked upon as a person we can count on.
Picture this. You're the self-proclaimed queen of the WNBA, expecting a triumphant return to thunderous applause and packed stands. Instead, you walk into an arena that looks like a Tuesday night high school scrimmage. That's exactly what happened to Angel Reese, and the footage is absolutely devastating. The Winrust Arena, which seats 9,500 fans, had entire sections sitting empty like a ghost town. Only 6,724 people bothered to show up for what was supposed to be the comeback of the decade.
What is this back injury? What's going on?
The silence was deafening. No roaring crowds, no sold-out energy, just the uncomfortable reality that maybe, just maybe, the hype machine had been running on fumes all along. When you compare this to Caitlin Clark's games, where fans are literally fighting for tickets and arenas are packed to the rafters, the contrast becomes painfully obvious. This wasn't just a bad night, it was a wake-up call that shattered every illusion about who really drives WNBA attendance.
You made so many people that squeezed in, just a mere 3,000 people short.
But the empty seats were just the beginning of Angel's nightmare. What happened next would expose a pattern so predictable that even casual fans started calling it out on social media. The timing of her mysterious back injury had people raising eyebrows from Chicago to Seattle.
Angel Reese is the most blocked player in the WNBA.
Angel Reese has mastered one skill better than any basketball technique, the art of disappearing when the heat gets too intense. Every single time the criticism mounts or the team starts struggling, she pulls the same move, vanishing from the court with some convenient excuse. This time it was a back injury that nobody saw coming and nobody could verify. The medical reports were vague, the timeline was suspicious, and the recovery period seemed to magically align with avoiding the worst stretch of the season.
You send me a few pictures and most sections seemed to be filled. It wasn't a sellout, but there was supposedly over 19,000 people in attendance. Of course, it's easier to draw a decent crowd when tickets are selling for $3.
Fans weren't buying it anymore. They'd seen this movie too many times before. The pattern was so obvious it became a meme. Team struggles. Angel faces criticism. Angel gets injured. Angel disappears for weeks. Angel makes dramatic return expecting heroes welcome. Rinse and repeat. What made it even worse was how she'd use these absences to focus on brand deals and social media content, while her teammates were grinding through losses night after night.
Angel Reese finally made her way back to the court.
The back injury excuse was particularly rich, considering she'd been claiming all season that she was carrying the Chicago sky on her back. Fans joked that maybe her back really was hurt, not from carrying the team, but from carrying the weight of her own inflated ego. The timing was too convenient, the explanation too vague, and the pattern too established for anyone to take it seriously.
Only 6,724 fans showed up to the Winrust Arena. Yeah, it holds about 9,500 fans, so we're talking roughly 3,000 fans away.
When Angel finally returned to face the Seattle Storm, the basketball world was watching to see if she could back up all the talk with actual performance. What they witnessed instead was a masterclass in how not to live up to your own hype. Sure, she managed 19 points and 7 rebounds, but anyone watching closely could see the cracks in the foundation.
She said, "I'm so happy to be back, playing the game that I love." All right.
The most telling statistic, Angel Reese is officially the most blocked player in the entire WNBA. Let that sink in for a moment. The player who claims to dominate the paint gets her shots rejected more than anyone else in the league. Her easy layups were getting swatted away like a parent taking cookies from a toddler. Defenders had completely figured out her limited offensive arsenal, and she had no answer for it.
It was literally only 3,000 fans away from being standing room only.
Her shooting looked decent on paper at 69%, but half of those were putback attempts that any professional player should make automatically. The real test came on her original shot attempts, and that's where the wheels fell off. She was clanking shots, missing bunnies, and looking genuinely frustrated every time a defender stepped in front of her. For someone who's supposed to be revolutionizing women's basketball, she was playing like someone still learning the fundamentals.
In all honesty, she has gotten better at shooting.
The loss to Seattle wasn't just disappointing, it was embarrassing. All that buildup, all that drama, all that hype, and the result was another L in the loss column. The Sky coughed up a 94-88 defeat, and Angel's performance was a big reason why, but the individual statistics only tell part of the story.
What is this back injury? What's going on?
Perhaps the most damaging aspect of Angel's return wasn't her own struggles, but what happened to her teammates when she stepped back on the court. Camila Cardoso, who had been absolutely flourishing during Angel's absence, suddenly looked like a different player. Her numbers dropped, her confidence seemed shaken, and her rhythm was completely disrupted.
The whole world is wondering, where in the world is Batman? I'm joking. I want to know, as Chicago Sky fans, women's basketball, WNBA, Angel Reese fans, where in the world?
This wasn't a coincidence. Cardoso had been finding her groove, establishing herself as a reliable scorer and presence in the paint. The moment Angel returned, demanding touches and dominating possessions, Cardoso's game suffered dramatically. Instead of elevating her teammates like true superstars do, Angel's presence seemed to make everyone around her worse. That's not leadership. That's sabotage with a headband. The ripple effect was visible throughout the entire team's offensive flow. Players who had been moving the ball effectively and finding open looks suddenly seemed hesitant and out of sync. The chemistry that had been building during Angel's absence evaporated in a single game. If you're Cardoso, you have to be looking at this situation and wondering if you'd be better off somewhere else.
Angel Reese! She might have tapped out.
True stars make their teammates better. They create opportunities, draw defensive attention that opens up the floor for others, and elevate the overall level of play. Angel Reese does the opposite. She creates a black hole effect where possessions go to die and other players stand around watching. That's not championship basketball, and Chicago Sky fans are starting to realize it.
And it looked like the Indiana Fever front office is caught red-handed, lying to reporters.
While Angel was struggling to fill a medium-sized arena and watching her teammates' games deteriorate, she was busy making some truly outrageous claims about her future. In interviews during her absence, she revealed her master plan, creating a signature shoe line that would rival Michael Jordan's Air Jordans. Yes, you read that correctly. The player who can't get 75% capacity at her own team's arena thinks she's going to revolutionize the sneaker industry.
And it looked like more footage has been released as to the Indiana Fever actually exposing when this injury happened, man.
Her exact quote was even more delusional. Just like how they wear Jordans everywhere, I want people to wear the Angel Reese ones everywhere and just be a household name. This from someone whose biggest achievement might be convincing people to keep talking about her while her actual basketball skills prove otherwise. Michael Jordan built his empire on being the undisputed greatest player of his generation. Angel Reese has built her brand on Instagram captions and manufactured controversy. The math simply doesn't add up. Jordan's shoes became a global phenomenon because he was transcendent on the court. Generations of fans worshipped his game and wanted to emulate everything about him. Angel, meanwhile, can't even sell tickets to her own comeback game. She's closer to getting a discount shoe deal at a budget retailer than she is to challenging Nike's throne.
So they saying that the injury happened around August the 7th.
What makes this dream even more unrealistic is the current state of her reputation among actual basketball fans. While she's busy planning her fashion empire, defenders are studying film and figuring out exactly how to neutralize her limited offensive game. Her signature move seems to be getting her shot blocked, which probably isn't the kind of highlight reel that drives sneaker sales.
Part of the problem. You're lying to the people, and you're supposed to be looked upon as a person we can count on for credibility and to keep it transparent with the fans.
But Angel's delusions of grandeur extend far beyond footwear. Recent reports have revealed that she's been making waves behind the scenes with some controversial statements about the WNBA itself. She's been vocal about potential strike action regarding the league's upcoming collective bargaining agreement, positioning herself as some kind of player advocate while simultaneously alienating fans with her on-court antics.
She's experiencing a back injury. Her back is literally hurting. And is it because that she is tired of carrying the weight of the Chicago Sky on her back?
The timing of these political moves is particularly interesting. Just as her basketball performance becomes more questionable and her drawing power proves to be largely fictional, she's trying to establish herself as a voice for player rights. Angel Reese is currently having a tussle with the WNBA, and she has already issued a threat to the league on CBA, which is coming up in 2025 season. This strategy might work if she had the respect of fans and peers, but her credibility is at an all-time low. Players who talk about striking need to be able to back it up with performance that justifies their demands. When you're the most blocked player in the league and can't fill your own arena, threatening work stoppages just looks like more attention-seeking behavior.
It here that she expects to sell shoes in a way that Michael Jordan did.
The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth, largely driven by players who focus on their craft rather than manufacturing drama. Angel's approach of controversy first, basketball second, is increasingly looking like a relic from a bygone era when any publicity was considered good publicity. Speaking of controversies, Angel's on-court behavior has become increasingly problematic as her performance has declined. She's currently sitting at 7 technical fouls, putting her dangerously close to an automatic suspension. Reese recently drew attention to herself at the WNBA All-Star Game when she spoke out against the WNBA for its handling of recent negotiations with the Players Union.
That's right, Angel Reese chasing Michael Jordan's shoe dream.
Her eye-rolling, shoulder-shrugging, and smirking at referees and opponents has become a signature part of her brand, but it's not the kind of signature that builds lasting success. Professional athletes are expected to handle adversity with grace and composure. Angel's response to getting blocked or missing shots is to act like everyone else is the problem.
She actually made a comment about these. Quote, "Just like how they wear Jordans everywhere, I want people to wear the Angel Reese ones everywhere and to just be a household name."
This behavioral pattern extends beyond individual games. Her tendency to disappear when things get tough, her constant need to redirect blame, and her inability to take accountability for poor performance all point to deeper issues with her approach to professional basketball. Champions don't roll their eyes when things get difficult. They find ways to overcome obstacles. The technical fouls aren't just about individual calls. They represent a pattern of unprofessional conduct that's becoming harder for the league to ignore. At some point, the WNBA has to decide whether they want players who elevate the product or players who turn every game into a potential disciplinary issue. The stark contrast between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has never been more obvious than in the attendance figures when each player is absent from games. When Clark gets injured or misses games, the numbers tell a brutal story that completely destroys Angel's narrative about being a draw.
That floor general and that floor leader, did the Chicago Sky break Angel Reese's back?
During Clark's injuries, viewership, attendance, and ticket prices dropped 48%, despite Reese and other stars such as Paige Bueckers still playing. Think about that statistic for a moment. Even with Angel Reese on the court, along with other talented players, attendance and viewership nearly cut in half when Clark wasn't playing. This isn't just about one player being more popular, it's about one player being the actual engine driving WNBA growth while another player takes credit for it. The media loves to push the rivalry narrative, but the numbers don't lie. The Sky's average attendance of 8,255 fans per game also represents a significant improvement over their 7,241 fan average in 2023. While that sounds good for Angel, it pales in comparison to the Clark effect. Indiana Fever games featuring Clark are selling out arenas and breaking television viewership records.
Angel Reese is the most blocked player.
When Angel returned to face an arena with 3,000 empty seats, it became impossible to maintain the fiction that she's driving WNBA popularity. Fans vote with their wallets and their time, and they've made their preference crystal clear. They want to see basketball excellence, not manufactured drama and social media stunts.
Believe it or not, I believe that's a real stat.
The harsh reality is that Angel has built her entire brand on being loud, flashy, and perfect for clickbait content, not because she's dominating on the basketball court. She's mastered the art of staying in conversations through controversy rather than through elite performance. But fans are getting tired of the show and demanding substance.
Now try to make a layup. Good luck with the layups.
This approach might work in the short term for social media engagement, but it doesn't build the kind of lasting fan base that fills arenas and drives merchandise sales. True superstars like Clark focus on perfecting their craft, and the fans follow naturally. Angel has it backwards. She's trying to manufacture fandom through personality while her basketball skills stagnate. The numbers prove that WNBA fans aren't just looking for entertainment, they're looking for basketball excellence. They want to witness history being made through athletic achievement, not through Twitter beefs and press conference soundbites. Angel's strategy of controversy over craft is proving to be a dead end in terms of building sustainable success.
Has she trademarked that yet? Bricklayer Barbie? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, seriously.
What makes this situation even more telling is how Angel responds to criticism versus how established stars handle adversity. True champions use doubt as motivation to improve their games. They take responsibility when things go wrong and find ways to elevate their teammates. Angel does the exact opposite. She deflects blame, creates excuses, and disappears when the pressure mounts. Her back injury excuse during a crucial stretch of games wasn't just about physical health, it was about mental toughness. Champions play through discomfort and find ways to contribute even when they're not at 100%. Angel's pattern of convenient absences suggests a player who hasn't developed the mental resilience required for sustained excellence at the professional level. The contrast with players like Clark, who play through injuries and continue performing at elite levels, couldn't be more stark. While Angel was posting Instagram content during her mysterious back injury, other players were grinding through difficult games and building their reputations through consistent effort rather than social media presence.
And just like clockwork, Angel comes back, Cardoso's numbers go down.
This mentality problem extends to how she handles her teammates and coaches. Instead of using her platform to elevate the entire team, she seems to view basketball as a vehicle for personal brand building. Every possession becomes an opportunity for individual statistics rather than team success. Every interview becomes a chance to redirect attention to herself rather than celebrate collective achievements. As Angel Reese's rookie season winds down, the early projections about her impact on the WNBA are looking increasingly divorced from reality. The league is indeed experiencing unprecedented growth, but the primary driver isn't the Chi Barbie brand. It's legitimate basketball excellence from players who prioritize performance over publicity.
If I'm Cardoso, I'm wanting out of Chicago. I'm getting the hell out of Chicago.
The future implications of this pattern are significant for both Angel and the Chicago Sky organization. If she continues to disappear during crucial moments, blame teammates for poor chemistry, and focus more on social media than skill development, her career trajectory becomes predictable. She'll remain a clickbait generator who occasionally puts up decent numbers, but never achieves the sustained excellence required for true superstardom. For the Sky, the decision becomes whether to build around a player whose presence seems to make teammates worse, or to develop the talent that flourished during her absence. Cardoso showed real promise when given consistent touches and confidence. Other role players moved the ball more effectively and played with better chemistry. The organization has to decide if Angel's brand recognition is worth the on-court dysfunction she appears to create. The WNBA as a whole is at a crossroads. The league's growth has been driven by players who combine elite basketball skills with professional conduct and genuine leadership. Angel's approach of controversy-driven attention-seeking represents an older model of sports celebrity that doesn't align with what modern fans are demanding from their athletic heroes. Looking ahead, Angel Reese faces a choice that will define the rest of her professional career. She can continue down the current path of manufactured drama, convenient injuries, and social media stunts, which will likely result in a short-lived career as a fringe player who's remembered more for controversy than accomplishment. Or she can completely overhaul her approach, focus on developing real basketball skills, learn to elevate teammates, and build authentic leadership qualities. The empty seats at Wintrust Arena weren't just about one bad attendance night, they were a referendum on everything Angel Reese represents in professional basketball. Fans are sophisticated enough to distinguish between genuine star power and artificial hype. They're willing to pay to see excellence, but they won't waste their money on manufactured drama and inconsistent performance. The most damning aspect of this entire situation is how predictable it all was. Anyone paying attention to Angel's patterns could have forecasted the convenient injury, the dramatic return, the disappointing performance, and the excuses that followed. When your career becomes that predictable, it's a sign that you've stopped growing as both a player and a person. The question now isn't whether Angel Reese can become a legitimate WNBA superstar, it's whether she's willing to do the work required to transform from a social media personality who happens to play basketball into a basketball player who happens to have social media presence. The clock is ticking, the fans have spoken with their absence, and the numbers don't lie. The choice is hers, but the window for making it is closing fast.